Hi guys! Today I'm going to be talking about my most anticipated releases for the rest of the year. I'm going to do my best to go through these by release date. There are a lot in the end of September and October. Release dates get a little hazier the further out you go though, so November and December don't quite have a lot out yet, but I'm going to talk through the ones that I definitely know are coming out and what they're about and why I'm excited about them. Starting off with Under the Whispering Door by TJ Klune, which releases the 21st of September. This one follows a man named Wallace who's recently died, but instead of being brought directly to the afterlife, he finds himself in a small village. And in this village, there is a tea shop run by a man named Hugo, who is also the ferryman that carries souls to the afterlife. Wallace has 7 days to cope with his death and cross over, but he's not quite ready to let go of the life that he hasn't quite lived fully yet. And this one just sounds so interesting. Like pretty much everyone else on BookTube, I loved House on the Cerulean Sea last year, and I just think TJ Klune's writing is so charming. And this one definitely seems a bit heavier, where it deals so much with death and coping with it. But I have full confidence that he's going to handle it really well, and I'm really intrigued to see what he does with this concept. I do believe there is also an LGBTQ romance in this as well, I believe between Wallace and Hugo, so that'll be an interesting element as well, and I'm just so excited for this one, and I'm really glad that we're sort of closing in on the release date for that one, because I've been really looking forward to this all year. Next up, releasing on September 28th, we have Once Upon a Broken Heart by Stephanie Garber. I believe the story is technically related to her other series, Caraval, which I have not read, but I believe this can stand alone, and I'm very interested in this one, and I might go back and read Caraval at some point, but this particular story just sounds so interesting to me, and I can't wait to pick it up. Follows a young woman named Evangeline who was raised in her father's curiosity shop, where she learned about a lot of different mythical figures, including the Prince of Hearts. The Prince of Hearts has strange powers, a kiss to die for, and bargains with him typically don't go over quite so well. But when she's older and in love with a man who she finds out is about to marry someone else, she's desperate for help and appeals to the Prince of Hearts and offers a bargain, 3 kisses in exchange for his help in stopping the wedding. However, she soon learns that this deal might not go over as planned, and the Prince of Hearts wants more from her than she has promised. And I'm very intrigued by this. I don't know if that's necessarily going to be a love story between the two of them or what, or how this is going to blow up in her face. I'm very intrigued. I do believe this is also a Fairy Loot book coming out in the next couple of months as well, so I should be getting the UK edition of that, which I'm excited for because I like the UK cover a lot better than the US cover, so very interested to see how this one is. And again, if I like it, I might go back and read Caraval. I haven't had a whole lot of interest in reading that, but if it is related, I might want to kind of get a better, fuller scope of the world. Also releasing on September 28th is Lake's Edge by Lyndall Clipstone, and the cover alone for this gives me such Crimson Peak vibes. I'm so excited. I love that movie, and I hope that this book kind of has that same atmosphere and feeling. It follows a young woman named Violetta, and she arrives at the estate of Lake's Edge, which is rumored to be haunted. And the young man that lives there, Rowan, is also rumored to have killed his entire family when he was a kid. So there's a lot of spookiness surrounding both the estate and this man. But Violetta soon finds out that Rowan's soul is linked to a death god that resides in the lake. And that sounds so deliciously creepy and gothic, and I can't wait to find out sort of what the central mystery is, why his soul is linked to the death god. I'm very excited for this one. Again, just atmosphere vibes from the cover alone. So excited. Also releasing on 9/28, which is going to be a big Tuesday, wow, is the X Hex by Erin Sterling. This one's a bit more lighthearted. It's a witchy rom-com and follows a girl named Vivian who 9 years ago got broken up with, and coping with her broken heart, she puts a curse on her ex-boyfriend. Not a very serious one that's just supposed to give him like a bad hair day for a couple of days or something. And she doesn't think about it much anymore. But 9 years later, he returns to town and bad things start happening just across the town, not just with him. And she soon realizes that her curse had bigger repercussions than she meant for, and her ex-boyfriend have to team up to end the curse and save their town, which just sounds like so much fun. I'm really excited. This one gives me sort of Bewitched vibes. I don't know why, if it's just the cover or what, but it seems really cute, and I think it'll be a good romance to read in October as we're getting into spooky season. Getting into October releases, we have The Death of Jane Lawrence by Caitlin Starling releasing on October 5th. And again, this one sounds super gothic and creepy. I kind of get like Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde vibes. I don't know if that's intentional or not, but it's like a historical fiction. This young woman named Jane is very much like career driven. She wants to remain independent, so she decides to enter this marriage of convenience with this man named Augustine, and he will let her continue to work and do her own thing on the one condition that she never visit his estate, Lindridge Hall, at the edge of town. It's crumbling and dilapidated, and she's like, okay, cool. Unfortunately, an accident results in her turning up on the doorstep in a rainstorm, and she finds the man she married to be very much changed from the man that she initially met. Gone is the confident young man, and she is faced with a paranoid dude who cannot tell reality from nightmare. He thinks that she's a hallucination sent to like haunt him. She has no idea what's happening, but in the morning he's back to his regular old self. So she was like, something is up with this place, something is up with this man that I married. So she must discover what she's gotten herself into. This sounds so creepy. I love the cover again. I'm very much in like the gothic sort of horror mood this season, so I'm really hoping that it lives up to sort of that vibe that the cover and the description gives off, because I just think this sounds so interesting. Also releasing on October 5th is Vesper Teen by Margaret Rogerson. I love Margaret Rogerson's writing. She's written An Enchantment of Ravens and A Sorcery of Thorns, both standalone fantasies, and this I believe is a standalone as well. She just has such atmospheric lyrical writing, and I think like this is also going to be a really good October read. It follows a woman named Artemisia, and she's training to be a Grey Sister, which is a nun that cleans it and cares for dead bodies so that their souls might pass on and not like rise up and eat people. Seems to be the threat there, which is creepy. Her convent is eventually attacked, and in order to defend it, she awakens an ancient spirit who happens to be malignant, apparently, and is bound to a certain relic, but she must possess its power in order to save the convent, and in doing so, her very life and soul is threatened by this other spirit consuming her, and seems to be sort of like this push and pull dynamic between the two, which I think is interesting. I have no idea where the story is going to go, but the premise sounds so interesting. That cover is gorgeous, and Margaret Rogerson has not done me wrong yet. I've loved her stories, so I think this is going to be really cool, and it sounds so unique. Like, I'm very excited to see where this one will go. Releasing on October 12th, we have the volume 1 of Extraordinary by V.E. Schwab. This is a graphic novel series set in the world of villains, so if you've read Vicious or Vengeful, this is set in that same world, but it follows 3 new EOs as they cope with their newfound abilities and also with the fact that someone is hunting them down. I don't know where in time this takes place, so I'm not quite sure who that person is or if it's just an organization or what, but I'm very excited. They've released a couple of the single issues so far, but I have been waiting for the volume 1 bind up. I'm really excited. The artwork looks really cool. I love V.E. Schwab stories, and I think this is going to be an excellent, excellent graphic novel, so can't wait to pick that up. Next up, we have Jade Fire Gold by June C.L. Tan. This one I don't know a whole lot about. The description on Goodreads is kind of vague, but 1, the cover is awesome, and 2, it does mention a peasant with secret mysterious abilities and a prince in exile who thinks that this woman is his path back to the throne, and I'm getting Zuko Katara vibes from that description. I don't know if that's how it's gonna go, but I'm intrigued. My interest is piqued. I'm excited. It is inspired by Chinese mythology and apparently has a slow burn romance, and I love a good one of those. So very excited for this release. I think it sounds so interesting, and I'm excited. I hope it has the Zutara vibes that description is giving me. Next up, we have Well Matched, releasing on October 19th. This is the third and I believe final book in the Well Met romance series. This one follows April, who is the sister of the protagonist from the first one, Emily, and she is getting ready to move out of Willows Creek. Her daughter is about to go off to college, and she's preparing the house to sell, and in order to do that, she enlists the help of the other beloved side character from this series, Mitch, who's a bit of a player, but he's a very lovable high school coach and gym teacher. She gets him to help her fix up her house in exchange for posing as his girlfriend at a family dinner for him, because apparently he gets a lot of lectures about not settling down and not having a serious career. But as with most fake dating scenarios, this one leads to real feelings, I'm assuming, and I'm so excited. These characters have been in all three of the books so far, and Mitch especially is just such a personality, and I'm really intrigued to see what makes this man settle down. I'm excited, and I love this series. It's so cozy. It's the perfect sort of fall Renaissance fair vibe. And I'm excited for this one. I'm sad the series is going to be over, but I'm sure I'll revisit all of these books multiple times because they're just so cozy and fun, and I love them. So excited for this one. Releasing on October 26th is The Kingdom of the Cursed by Carrie Maniscalco, and where this is a sequel, I can't get too much into the details of this one. It does seem to pick up where Kingdom of the Wicked left off with Amelia, and she finds herself in having to navigate the courts of hell, trying to find out who killed her sister. And again, can't get too much into it, but she has sort of a slow burn romance, I believe, with one of the princes of hell, Wrath. They had a great dynamic in the first one. Their banter was so fun, and I'm very curious to see sort of how her new position plays into their relationship and how that develops. I have also heard that this is more of a new adult book, so I'm expecting some steamier scenes than the first book had, so that'll be fun. And yeah, again, I'm excited where this one's releasing so close to Halloween, because I think sort of the demons and hell vibes are going to be fun for that. And yeah, so I'm excited for that one. And lastly, because again, the further out you go, sort of the hazier the release dates get, so I don't have much beyond November, is The Bone Shard Emperor, which releases November 9th. This is a sequel to The Bone Shard Daughter, which released, I believe, sometime last year. It was either October or November, but that book was so cool. It's one of the most unique fantasies I've ever read. It's multi-POV. I think Andrea Stewart switches between first and third person perspective so expertly. But yeah, unfortunately, I can't get too much into the details about what this next one entails without spoiling the first one. So if you haven't read that one, strongly suggest that you do. Again, one of the coolest, most unique fantasies I've ever read. It follows a young woman named Lin Sukai, who is the daughter of the emperor. She's training to take over that position for her father at some point, but there's a mystery. She doesn't really remember her past, and the unfolding of that was so interesting. There are also these creatures called constructs, which she can make with bone shard magic. They're sort of Frankenstein creatures that, with the magic, she can sort of basically program duties for them, which is super interesting. And again, unlike anything I've ever seen in another fantasy book, it's almost sci-fi. It's really weird. And we have this whole other cast of characters. There's a great animal companion as well. So yeah, so cool. Really looking forward to the sequel. I can't wait to see where this series goes, because I think Andrea Stewart is doing something that nobody else is right now, and it's really intriguing. So yeah, those are the books that I'm most excited for that have solid dates for throughout the end of the year. I'm hoping the closer we get to like late November, December, we get a couple more. So let me know what you think down below. Do any of these sound interesting to you? Have I missed any that you're really excited for? Please let me know. I spent a lot of time trying to compile this list, but I'm sure I have not researched, you know, the entire internet enough. So yeah, let me know if there's anything that you're looking forward to that I didn't mention. And yeah, have a wonderful day. Feel free to follow my socials down below, like this video, subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!